Yo, what is up, everyone? What is going on? It's Preacher Man Sports. Welcome back to another video. And like I promised, I'm doing Teams Most Hated Rivals NHL edition. As you can see, I already got the stuff pre-colored. Those are the teams. I'm not much of a hockey geek, but I've talked to a lot of hockey fans, and they're trying to help my hockey knowledge. There's the West, there's the East right there. So, hopefully everything goes to plan. I pre-colored the sidebar because I predetermined it. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So first, I did the Pacific. It goes Pacific this half, and then it starts here where Dallas is. It goes to the Central. Then the East, from the New York all the way down to the Devils, is the Metro, and then from Florida down below to Buffalo is the Atlantic Division. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the West. All right, Edmonton. Who do they hate the most? I don't think it's much of an argument. They hate Calgary the most. It's the Battle of Alberta, all right? Calgary, which is Canada's third biggest city, versus Edmonton, which is the capital of Alberta and shit like that. It's the Battle of Alberta, northern it's northern. I'm pretty sure, like, for that perspective, Edmonton's had a rich history, and every time when it's Calgary and Edmonton, it's always a high scoring game, like it was a couple years ago in the playoffs. So, it's basically the north half of Alberta, which is Edmonton, because Edmonton's basically, I think, in the center of Alberta, versus the southern part of Alberta, which is Calgary, obviously, because Calgary's on the border of crap. Tired tonight. Like I said, northern half of Alberta versus the southern half, because that's just how it is, honestly. It's the Battle of Alberta, so it's pretty tough, because Calgary's on the outskirts, Calgary's just on the southern part of Alberta, and Edmonton, so there you go. So, yeah, Battle of Alberta. Calgary, like I said, Edmonton, northern part of Alberta, which is Edmonton, versus the southern part of Alberta, which is Calgary. So, nothing much else to say. The Canucks, Western Canada. From what I hear, Canucks fans, they hate the Oilers the most. I don't think it's much of an argument. I don't think they hate Calgary that much. You could also say they hate Seattle because, they're literally right across from each other, across the border. So that shows you something. The Kings. The LA Kings. I talked to a lot of Kings fans. They hate the Golden Knights the most. It's playoffs. It's not really playoffs, but it's tension. LA and Vegas can't stand each other in any kind of sport. So, and from what I hear from the Kings, they hate the Golden Knights the most, and I don't blame them. Golden Knights. I talked to my friend. He's a Golden Knights fan. He hates San Jose the most, which is weird. Now, playoffs, dude. Because, man, San Jose came back. They were down 3-0 in that Game 7. They came back, and it kind of ruined Vegas' eyes. That was in, I think, 2019. No, it wasn't 2019. I think it was, actually, yeah. But, it was, actually, now I remember. Marc-Andre Fleury was on that team. But, they hate the Golden. They hate Sharks the most. It's not. I don't think it's that much of an argument. Anaheim. They hate the Kings the most. Reason why I say that is because Anaheim's part of LA's metro area. It's literally, Anaheim is the baby brother of the Kings. So, they're that annoying little brother. They're like, oh, I hate the Kings, that kind of stuff. San Jose. Oh, crap. I didn't pre-code this one. Oh, I must have forgot. Oh, well. Let's see. Let's change that into that because San Jose hates Vegas the most. Oops. Damn it. They hate the Golden Knights the most. I don't think it's much of an argument. It's the playoff rivalry intent. There is another team that you could also say they hate. Like an honorable mention would be the Los Angeles Kings actually. But it's more on Vegas, all right? It's more of Vegas. It's more on Vegas. They hate Vegas more than they hate the LA. So that's do with that as well. Seattle, they hate Vegas the most. Because Vegas has been that annoying fan base according to some Kraken fan. An honorable mention that a team whom they don't like is actually Vancouver. The reason why I say it is because literally they're across the border from each other, so I don't think there's much else there. I think it's like American Canadian rivalry, basically. So that's the Pacific for you. Dallas. I'm a Stars fan myself, and I immediately, when I say this, fuck the Minnesota Wild. Wild fans, they're so obsessed with the Stars, because the Stars, they used to be known as the Minnesota North Star until they left and went to Dallas, and Minnesota got their own franchise. We faced them plenty of times in the playoffs. We owned them every single time. We own those motherfuckers, and they cry about it, and they want to say we died a lot. So, Wild are that annoying baby brother. The Avs. This is actually not in division, but they hate the Red Wings the most. It's a historic rival. Back then, oh man. Back then Lemieux and all that crap. Not Lemieux, but there was a guy back then. Oh man, the goaltender was dirty. Yeah, the Avs and Red Wings used to go at it, and they still kind of go at it, even though they only see each other twice a year, once in Detroit and once in Colorado. But still, pretty darn good rivalry. Next, Winnipeg. Winnipeg, I don't know what the hell they could hate, but I seen on a lot of Twitter that Winnipeg hates the Maple Leafs the most because Canadian teams have that right. They hate Toronto, and another team who heard that they've hate a lot is weird because it's not even in their division. The Vegas Golden Knights. It's weird. I've seen it on Twitter and shit. I'm like, really? I thought they would hate someone in the division like Colorado or Dallas or maybe even St. Louis. But, it's mainly Toronto that they hate. So do with that as you will. Chicago. This is easy. They hate the Blues the most. Chicago-St. Louis rivalry in all sports. Big rivalry, playoff-wise and city-wise. Blues, like I said, they hate Chicago. They hate the Blackhawks the most. Like I said, St. Louis, Chicago rivalry. Nashville. The Preds, they actually hate the Avs the most. Oops. It's kind of a playoff rivalry in the two teams because they kind of be going back and forth in the division the past a few years ago. From what I hear from Preds fans, they hate the Avs a lot too. It's either them or you can say St. Louis. But it's mainly Colorado though that they hate. But I think personally they hate Colorado the most, but I'm just gonna leave the Blues there. So I think they just hate the Avs the most. Blues are like an honorable mention. The Wild, like I said, they hate us the most. They can't stand us. Every time we play them, it's a physical game. They try to hurt players on the Stars. And yeah, they're crybabies about it. Arizona. Arizona's weird. But Arizona, they told me they hate the Blackhawks the most. Oops. See, everyone in the Central is spread out because, Arizona hates Chicago. The Wild hate Dallas. Nashville hates Colorado. St. Louis hates Chicago. Chicago hates St. Louis. Winnipeg hates Toronto and Vegas. Colorado hates Detroit. Dallas hates Minnesota. But that's just something for you to see. Nothing much else. But yeah, that's the western side. Now, moving on to the eastern side. All right, here's this side for the Metro, and then down below is the Atlantic. So we're gonna start with the Rangers. The New York Rangers, I think it's easy. They hate the Islanders the most. Like I said, it's New York, Madison Square Garden against UBS Arena, which is on Long Island in Elmont, New York. So keep that in mind. And yeah, it's New York, right? It's one of the bigger rivals in the division. The Islanders, they obviously hate the Rangers the most. An honorable mention, for the Islanders is actually the Bruins, because they've had some playoff history on the Islanders and the Bruins. But it's mainly the Rangers that they hate, given the circumstance. The Bruins might not be in their division, but it's a team that's hated. But I'm just going to leave that out. So I'm going to put that with the Rangers. The Canes, they hate the Rangers the most. Playoff rivalries. Canes and Rangers kind of broke each other's heart every time they play in the playoffs. Nothing much else to it. The Capitals, they hate the Flyers the most. Washington sports and not the state Washington sports and Philadelphia sports continue to hate on each other, like the Commanders and the Eagles in football. So keep that in mind. The Flyers. This is actually crazy. I didn't find out, but then again, I know why. They hate the Penguins the most. Pittsburgh Penguins. It's mainly the Crosby hate because it's something to keep in mind. And I forgot to say, an honorable mention for the Flyers is that they also kind of hate the Penguins the most. And the reason why I say that is because the Ovechkin-Crosby debate is always like, you got Cowboys fans saying, oh, Ovechkin's better. And you got Penguins fans obviously saying, oh, no, the Crosby's better than that overrated fraud. Kind of shit like that, The Penguins, shout out to my boy SnakeB69. He said that they hate the Flyers the most. Because literally Sidney Crosby owns that team. Recent history, the Flyers, and Penguins, the Penguins have had their number. And it's the Battle of Pennsylvania, so think of it like that. Columbus. This is weird. Columbus barely has fans, but if I were to guess, they hate the Canes the most. It's weird because it's like a Eastern rivalry. That's weird. So don't ask me why. The Devils, they hate the Rangers the most because Hudson River rivalry. All right, it's Hudson River rivalry mainly. So do with that as you will. That's the Metro. Now we move on to the Atlantic. Florida. Shout out to all the people in my Discord. I talked to my friend Kirby, a few other Panthers fans that I've talked to, and it's actually a tie between these two teams that I'm just about to name. Oops, there we go. It's actually a tie between Tampa and Boston. Oops. It's a tie between these two teams because I'm like, who do they hate the most? Do you hate Toronto? Do you hate Boston? Do you hate Tampa? Do you hate Carolina? It was a tie between Tampa and Boston. It's mainly a lot of them hate Tampa. Recent history has picked up because the two teams have been going at it. And they're about to play each other in the playoffs, too. So do with that as you will. But yeah, shout out to the FLA Cats community. Little Discord that I'm in. They're nice people. What's next? All right. The Lightning. They hate the Bruins the most. It's mainly playoffs and Tampa and Boston sports really hate each other. So keep that in mind. I could say Florida because, is mainly that. I'm gonna just put that anyway for the sake of things. It's Boston and Florida. It's mainly Boston, so don't get your heads twisted on that, you know? It's mainly Boston. Toronto. Talked to my friend Mile High 6 and several other Leafs fans. They hate Montreal the most. The reason why I say that, Toronto and Montreal sports can't stand each other. It's Canadian. It's basically the biggest Canadian rivalry in all of Canada. Now, and a tie, and there's another tie to this. Wow, holy shit! There's a lot of ties in hockey. Boston, the Bruins, and the reason why I say this is because playoffs, man. There's so many times the Leafs and Bruins played in the playoffs, and the Bruins just snapped the Leafs hard. That 4-1 choke job, you know, a decade ago. That was one of the worst choke jobs ever. I didn't watch hockey then, but I heard about it. And speaking of Boston and Toronto, they play each other again this year in the playoffs, so that's going to be hell. So think about it like that. So shout out to my friends, Mile High 6. The Bruins, they hate the Leafs the most. And there's actually another tie to this. This is an old rivalry, you know? Oh crap. This is an old rivalry. This is old. It's the Leafs now, but back then they also hate Montreal the most. But it's mainly Toronto, all right? So I just wanted to point that out. It's mainly Toronto that they hate. They cannot. It's playoff history, like I said. At least they hate the Leafs. The Bruins, they hate the Leafs the most. Just gonna let you know that. Detroit, like I said, old school rivalry. They hate the Avalanche the most. It's an old school rivalry. Montreal. They hate Toronto the most. So, yeah. What's next? Ottawa. Ottawa. They hate Toronto the most. The reason why I say that is the Battle of Ontario. Oh my god, it's a Battle of Ontario. And for Montreal, it's another tie. Oops. It's another tie between the Bruins because of old school rivalry. You know what? I might as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put it like Bruins. I'm gonna put like Montreal right here. There we go. But Ottawa, yeah, Ottawa hates Toronto the most. The Battle of Ontario. It's really not much of a debate. And Buffalo, this is easy. They hate the Maple Leafs the most because Buffalo's literally Toronto's across the border from Buffalo. And Sabres, they can't stand Toronto from what I've heard. But yeah, those are hockey's got a lot of ties. Holy shit. It's mainly over here in the East. See, this is the West right here. Make sure you get everything. See, this is the West. This is the West. Right here. Get a good look. Good look. And down here is the East. Get a good look. See, in hockey, there's a lot of ties because there's like two teams that they hate the most. That's biggest rivalry. Like it's so big that you can't pick either one. So there's nothing much else for that to say. Like, you know, here's a tie right here: Flyers and Penguins. It's mainly the Flyers though. The Lightning, like Florida Lightning and Bruins. Yeah, that's definitely a tie. Lightning, Bruins, and Florida in case. Because, you know, Battle of Florida. The Leafs, Montreal, and Boston. It's mainly Montreal. But Bruins, that's a playoff rivalry for sure. Bruins, you know, Leafs and Canadians. Because the Habs and Bruins used to go at each other a lot. But it's mainly the Leafs, so keep that in mind. Detroit hates Colorado, obviously. Sens, Leafs, Sabres, Leafs. That's all I wanted to say, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll do college next, do basketball. See you guys soon. Peace!